Listening, fill in the blanks.
Let's start.
Sunlight heats the surfaces of the land and the oceans during the warmer months, but temperatures tend to rise faster. As the surface of the land gets warmer, the air above it expands, developing a low-pressure area. In the meantime, however, the ocean temperature remains lower than that of the land, and higher pressure is retained in the air above it. Sea breezes are the direct result of the difference in pressure, and they blow from the water body to the land, carrying moist air inland. The cycle is completed when this moist air rises to a higher altitude over the landmass and then goes back to the ocean. When the air rises over the land, however, the air cools. The air's capacity to hold water, therefore, decreases, causing precipitation over land. That is why there is so much rain over land during the summer monsoon.
Robust data collection methods have made it possible for scientists and researchers to unravel the minute differences between human brains and the brains of other species, and defining difference in our brain and that of primates is plasticity. However, to pinpoint the exact differences between humans and other mammals, more research is required. When we understand what makes us unique and where we share similarities, we will be able to recognize not only why we are the dominating species on Earth, but we will also be able to understand our brains better.
Increasing crime and devastating acts of terrorism have seen a growing need for vigilance. Whether it is security cameras or a satellite hovering above the Earth, you can be sure that someone is watching you. Law enforcement personnel and security professionals are depending heavily on video surveillance as an important tool in their battle against crime and terrorism. Statistics say that camera surveillance has been an effective tool in discouraging crime. In places like the UK, virtually every street sports security cameras, though by and large, such systems have the support of concerns regarding privacy invasion have been raised.
A child understands nothing, after all, about how a marble put into a hole can open a little door. How is he to know that any other marble of similar size will do just as well, yet he must assume that if he is to solve the problem. Hewson made the functional equivalence of different marbles clear by playing a swapping game with the children. The two modifications together produced a jump in success rates from 30% to 90% for 5-year-olds and from 35% to 72.5% for 4-year-olds. For 3-year-olds, for reasons that are still in need of clarification, no improvement, rather a slight drop in performance, resulted from the change.
Since the early 1980s, most of the world-scale pulp mills in Scandinavia and North America have modernized their operations, outlying substantial amounts to improve production methods. Changes in mill design and processes have been aimed at minimizing the environmental effects of effluent discharge, while at the same time producing pulp with the whiteness and strength demanded by the international market. The environmental impetus is taking this industry even further, with the focus now on developing processes that may even eliminate wastewater discharges. But the ghost of the old mills continues to haunt industry today. In Europe, companies face a flood of environment-related legislation. In Germany, companies are now being held responsible for the waste they create.
Many times, when you find yourself reaching for a candy bar or wanting to fix comfort food, the cause has deep roots. In fact, these roots could go as far back as your childhood. Most adults, engaging in unhealthy eating behaviors, believe that this can lead to undesirable consequences, such as feeling sluggish or lazy and negative about their bodies. Barb So is a good example. During her childhood, She was comforted with her favorite dinner and dessert every single time either one or both of her parents were unable to keep their promise. Now for Barb. These instances have transformed into an easy resort she seeks foe when in distress and at the same time feels displeased with her own behavior.
Differentiating emotional hunger from physical hunger is not easy for those who are consumed with emotional eating. Emotional hunger is felt unexpectedly, is overwhelming and urgent, whereas physical hunger does not hit you in an instant, and the urge to eat does not feel as dire. Emotional hunger craves specific comfort foods such as pizza or a pastry, mostly sugary snacks and junk food, as they provide an instantaneous rush. Nothing else will satisfy the craving. You are attracted to specific textures, tastes, and smells, and such an appetite cannot be satiated even if you are full for that time. This behavior often results in regret, guilt, or shame. However, when you're physically hungry, almost anything sounds good, even unappealing yet healthy foods like vegetables.
This stately and curious workmanship showed itself in various ways. A greater sense of security led to more outward-looking buildings, as opposed to the medieval arrangement where the need for defense created houses that faced inward onto a courtyard or series of courtyards. This allowed for much more in the way of exterior ornament. The rooms themselves tended to be bigger and lighter. As an expensive commodity, the use of great expanses of glass was in itself a statement of wealth. There was also a general move towards balanced and symmetrical exteriors with central entrances.
The huge glass and iron crystal palace, designed by Joseph Paxton to house the Great Exhibition of 1851, shows another strand to 19th-century architecture, one which embraced new industrial processes. But it wasn't long before even this confidence in progress came to be regarded with suspicion. Mass production resulted in buildings and furnishings that were too perfect, as the individual craftsmen no longer had a major role in their creation. Railing against the dehumanizing effects of industrialization, reformers like John Ruskin and William Morris made a concerted effort to return to handcrafted, pre-industrial manufacturing techniques. Morris's influence grew from the production of furniture and textiles, until by the 1880s a generation of principled young architects was following his call for good, honest construction.
A cement maker proudly speaks about the brief history of the road. This main road was part of an incentive program supported by the US's fund to help local people to find economic alternatives to harvesting coca, from which cocaine is produced. 4 years later, the road is a global vacuum from which timber from the Peruvian rainforest is taken to China. Some wood will be polished into luxury parquet flooring for high-quality homes in Shanghai and Beijing. More wood will be used in Chinese factories and made into patio furniture, decking or flooring in North America and Europe.
Like, share, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for further updates.